Why would a dentist pay so much money to hire an associate dentist? Why would a dentist pay 10, 20, $30,000 to hire an associate dentist? This is Paul Dr. Nacho. I am founder of Dentist Job Connect, talking with my friend Matt Funk. And I want to ask you, Matt, you help dentists hire associate dentists, and they pay a lot of money to do it. So why would a dentist want to pay you so much money to do that?
Well, I mean, you can't really thrive as a practice clinic owner unless you have the right associate in there to help you continue to generate revenue, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, you are going to be limited by the talent that you have there. And so the investment in finding a new associate is an investment in your practice and the long-term growth of your clinic and your profitability.
Awesome, man. I would put it as priceless. I've hired associates. I'm going to get to who you are in just a second, but I want my
Yeah.
audience just to learn some value, because in working with dentists, Matt, have you ever met many that are practice owners and say, you know what, Matt, I'm working 4.5 days a week, and what I really want to do is work 5.5 or 6. Have you heard people say that to you?
No,
I've
no.
never heard it. Some people say nothing is 100%. That's 100%. I want to tell people, as a dentist myself, if a dentist works 4 days a week and they go to 3, they never want to go back to 4. 3 to 2, never want to go back. So you cannot do this without an associate dentist. And you brought up a great point about how associate dentists can unlock financial flexibility. But what about the freedom of your schedule, the freedom for free time with your family, the freedom to not have to be face to face with all of the patients? Is that a pain point you see with the dentists and practice owners you help?
Well, 100%. I think the only thing more valuable than simply money is time, right? It's the most valuable commodity that we have. And so these practice owners, the ability to alleviate themselves of the daily clinical grind and being there day after day and building this thing on their own, right? I mean, the ability to be able to be, whether it's with family or invest in your hobbies, or, I've worked with clinic owners who really want to invest in like the volunteerism and participate in new ventures that they
Yeah.
couldn't have done otherwise, right? And so that time becomes the most valuable resource we've got.
And you're saying such amazing things, because no one knows how stressful it is to be face to face doing full contact arts and crafts on people that don't want to be there. That's dentisting, full contact. And we all know it as patients. My own brother did my fillings, and I'm like, when is this going to be over? It's pretty annoying,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
when you have that energy as a dentist and someone can unlock more schedule freedom, more free time with your family, and then this, Matt, fewer hygiene checks. No one talks about that. But we're doing a Zoom right now. Imagine if someone tapped you on the shoulder and said, hey, Matt, could you go do this Zoom for 4 minutes over here and come back? And then I just wait for you. So dentists also are incredibly stressed by having to be on the proverbial roller skates around their office. And then an associate dentist unlocks that as well. And if you're an associate dentist listening, those hygiene checks start to develop relationships with patients that go into your schedule.
Yep.
So what do you do to help? We'll talk about the cost of hiring an associate in a minute, but just talk, let's say someone was listening and say, I'm a practice owner. I'm thinking about hiring my first associate. I own multiple practices. My associates just said, hey, guess what? I'm moving to Napa Valley and leaving you here in Philadelphia. How do you swoop in like a hero and help these dentists?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we, in particular, and myself, what we're able to do is kind of expand a talent pool, right? Typically, job seekers will go to job boards like Dentist Job Connect and like your proverbial Indeeds or any sort of
Yeah.
job board, right? They're going to look in their local market. They're going to look at what's posted on there, and then it's kind of the passive from an employer standpoint. It's the passive, like, okay, well, I'll hire whoever comes to me. What we're able to do is proactively go after candidates that maybe in other markets that haven't considered the Pittsburghs or even the suburbs or smaller towns and different states even, and really expand their opportunities. And so our reach just your talent funnel goes from a couple hundred people to a couple thousand. And so you're just able to get in front of and have these conversations and have your job specifically marketed to an audience that typically wouldn't see it.
And I love what you're sharing there. I want to keep teaching our audience. So We help dentists hire associates through Dentist Job Connect in an affordable and amazing way. We are not a high-level recruiter like you, and we are not a free site, okay? One of the things that we do is we get positions out into our network, which has over 50,000 people. But one of the things that's challenging is when we post a job in Austin, Texas, it gets 10 applicants very quickly.
Yeah.
And we can post the same job somewhere in the state of Washington. No offense to the state of Washington, but I'm not up on their geography, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere where I'm going to call it not Seattle, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where that associate, Matt, can make $300,000 a year. But talk to the practice owner that's frustrated. They say, I've got a great job. Someone can make $300,000 a year. I'll teach them to do everything. I'll mentor them, but they're 2 hours from Seattle. How do you come in and help with these hard to fill positions? In Austin, Texas, where I know you still can help, they may get immediate applicants, but these other positions that are struggling, amazing positions, mentorship, earning opportunity, teach our audience a little bit about kind of why those are so tough to fill and how you come in and help.
Sure. I mean, again, any of these major metros are going to have people flood in the gates because let's say, you're going to move to Florida. When you think of Florida, you're like, okay, Miami, Tampa,
Yeah.
Orlando, the big cities, right? But it's these outliers that typically have these needs. And whether it's some sort of local dentist who opened up his own practice and he's from 2 hours outside of Orlando and he's built this amazing clinic. It's incredibly profitable. But unless you're from 2 hours outside of Orlando, you're not going to be looking at that particular job, right? And so these more rural areas typically post on these sites hoping that people will come to them. But at the end of the day, when you go on and search a job, you're going to type in more than likely a city that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And the first thing you think of is not Yakima, Washington, right? It's not Laramie, Wyoming, right? These are not the cities that you're typing in, yet these are some of the, more often than not, the best opportunities from like a profitability standpoint, right? From like an earnings potential, because they built these wonderful clinics in areas that desperately need strong dentistry. And they're the kings of those cities, right? That clinic is just this wonderful entity within the community, but you're only going to get local people typically applying.
And you're making a good point, because one of the things I share, because a lot of people have this get off my lawn thing. The younger people do this. Happens to me too. But these dentists, most of the time, they're from the area. So they didn't go rural, they went home. And what that means is they know the people, they have relationships. And dentists are people too. And this is a really important point. Dentistry is an incredibly stressful profession. So you get an associate dentist, and this has happened. I've gotten a young dentist to move somewhere in Texas, and they've reached out to me and said, Paul, I've been here for 3 years. I'm making over $300,000 a year. I got to leave. I can't take it. But what everyone should be inspired by is that dentist was there for 3 years. So create a story for the next dentist. So you need to, if you're going home, not rural, if you're from Rochester, New York, if you're from Erie, Pennsylvania, you're asking someone to do something that you yourself were not willing to do. So you have to be authentic about it and say, hey, if you come here, here are the pros, here are the cons, here are the advantages, and we're doing it with people like you, Matt. I mean, I got someone to move from New Jersey to Missouri. Not easy, right?
No.
Yeah. So it's possible, but this is where I want you to kind of layer in your value. When someone is struggling to fill these positions, what do you actually do? Do you talk to the associates for them? How does a high-level recruiter work? Explain it to me like the movie Philadelphia, Denzel Washington. Explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Explain to me how you do this.
So essentially, really, I won't even talk just in general, like what I can do and what we can do here at CI. I'll talk holistically for the whole audience to be able to relate to it. And then I can kind of layer in and dive into specifically what the difference is that I can provide. So basically what you're getting with a full-time recruiter that you've either retained those services, you've signed up, you're getting somebody to not only talk to associates once you've found them, but you're really getting somebody to full-time source for your job specifically. Now, this is not what I hate to say the word contingent, but some recruiting firms, they won't charge you anything. It's kind of like, let me contract with as many people in the area, see what I can find and let it stick, right? But they're just calling on opportunities in general, trying to see where somebody's looking and then try to piece it all together. But if you work with a firm, retained hybrid model, whatever, like what we and other firms can offer, is you're getting somebody dedicated to just your search specifically. And so, and this isn't even just for rural America, right? You're not just calling for Topeka, Kansas, if that's the opportunity,
Yeah.
right? We've worked in bigger cities, but it could be like you need somebody with 10 years of experience. And so your targeted audience is going to be slimmer. And so you need to get out in front of as many people as possible.
And
So
I
you're
want to
having
add, Matt,
recruiters.
just hold on, I said, I hope my team can pull this out and you can use it. You want to put as much attention and energy into the most important position in your office. And what
Yeah.
you want, the most options. As
Yes.
soon as you hire an associate, it becomes the most important position in your office. It doesn't mean that your team is not important, but it's the first time you're saying, hey, do this thing that only licensed people can do without me. So I always say when people pay, they pay attention. I know that's a quote I got from someone somewhere. And you can talk dentists when they say, oh, why do you charge anything up front? Just say, you know, when you do like a big case for a patient and you do a CBCT and put together work and the case might be $20,000, but your patient pays $2,000 to get it started, that shows that they're invested in the process. And that shows that you can do your work. And that's why I believe in a model like yours.
Yeah.
So there's an upfront cost and then a success fee. So talk to the audience about that.
Yeah, so usually what you're going to pay, we call it a procurement fee up front. Really, it allows us to invest in additional tools that we need. Plus, it shows that, like you said, Doc, somebody's invested in us, right? Because we're only going to be able to find an associate for a practice that actually wants an associate and will move forward when we find them.
Yeah.
And so it shows like a joint investment on both sides. But sometimes we're going to have to go out and find new talent. Sometimes we're going to have to invest in like an AI tool that I'm using right now with my clients that other people don't have access to. And we get, contracted rates and stuff like that. But, the biggest thing is you invest upfront to use this money for marketing and to get on the same page and align. And then you're only going to pay for the success, right? The placement, the versus another model, which is, hey, don't pay any money up front, but you're going to pay 25% of whatever first year salary is.
Right. And watch this, guys, watch this. So, hey, everyone in dentistry, I want to drag you from the Oregon Trail into the real world. Okay. We've taken a trip from the 1800s. Most other professions and industries that are hiring someone that makes $250,000 a year. How much are they paying the recruiter, Matt, most of the time?
20%.
Yeah. So they are paying $50,000. Okay. And that is totally normal. One story I like to tell is my amazing friend, Tim. He started a startup company that sells chocolate from Madagascar. And it's grown. It's great. It's called Beyond Good now. So everyone should check it out. He's an amazing guy. He did the Peace Corps there. And we're having dinner like 8 years ago, way before Job Connect. He goes, I made a really bad mistake with my company. He goes, I was cheap and I tried not to hire a recruiter for a sales director position. And I messed it up. And it wound up costing me way more. And Matt, this is like $150,000 position to sell chocolate, right?
That's wild.
So we're looking for licensed professionals to do dentistry on your patients. And that's why, even though I have created a flat fee model through Dentist Job Connect, which helps solve the problem, we need people like you because these patients are left without care. These dentists are stressed out. And kind of to just, dentists should get it because people tell us we're expensive all the time, like literally every day, no matter what the fee is, right? No matter what it is. But we know the value of what we do to help people chew. If someone was talking to you and they say, hey, Matt, my associate left, I'm in a difficult area, I'm a difficult-ish area, and my associate was producing $60,000 a month.
Yeah.
In 3 months, they're missing $180,000 of revenue. So paying $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 makes a lot of sense to hire someone like you to do that. As we wrap up this segment, if anybody wants to connect with the awesome Matt Fung to just learn about this process, to learn about finding associates, because we work together synergistically, please reach out to us at dentistjobconnect.com or email info@dentistjobconnect.com. But everybody needs a happy story, right? They want to move forward with a happy story. So with what you see, where is a client, you don't have to mention them by name. Maybe they were not so sure this was worth it in hiring an associate or investing in it. And now they say, Matt, I was foolish. I should have done it sooner.
Yeah.
Matt, I was foolish. I shouldn't have tried to put it on my own Facebook page and have my aunt apply. That's what they say sometimes. They go, I don't need you at Dentist Job Connect. I'm going to put it on my own Facebook page. And well, you have 400 friends, 200
Yeah.
are your family. Is your cousin going to apply to your job? But tell us
Yeah.
a success. You don't have to do the name, but just kind of like an inspiring story in the recruiting world.
Yeah, I've got several, and I've worked with some really incredible clients. But typically, the biggest hurdle always is going to be spending money, right? Investing anything without the, I guess, assurance that you're going to find the perfect person, this magical dentist is just going to obviously occur. Well, I worked with a client in rural South Dakota. And for a while, they'd been using some contingency firms, unable to really secure anybody. It was kind of a consistent theme, right? And so, I continued to provide some consultation, right? I would hop on the phone, like you said, Doc. I'm willing to talk to whoever. I'm willing to have these conversations, and that's at no cost. And then if you want us to partner together, we can dive into that. But we had spoken for a few months while they're using these firms and they just had no success, right? And so and this is a community health center. So they were going months without any dental services for this entire community, serving like 100-mile radius. And so the whole community wasn't getting anybody. Well, push comes to shove. He finally signs up about 3 months later. Our typical timeline is about 60 days to be able to find a candidate and get them in the door and get in there. So 2 months later, lo and behold, I think it was 41 days actually, so a little over a month, that we found them an associate from the Northeast to move out to South Dakota because everything that person wanted aligned, and the person was there and started within, I think, 120 days from the time that we signed up for the service and they were actually seeing patients.
It's an awesome story. I mean, one of the things I want to just help dentists expand their mind in is this is a position that is tied to your success and stress. It's tied to your success and stress. In future episodes, we'll talk about some DSOs are totally unwilling to consider your practice to buy it if you don't have an associate. And some private practice groups will refuse that. So I hope that we've inspired this audience to focus on what will unlock more freedom, more free time, fewer hygiene checks, and get on the path to financial success. If you'd like to connect with Matt, please reach out to us at dentistjobconnect.com. If we can help you in any way, just text HIRE to 215-798-9897. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, guys. As always, Doc, it's a pleasure.